Today, I'm going to show you guys how to replace your AC belt on your 2016 AMG C63S with the M177 twin-turbo V8 engine. The first thing that you're going to need to do is collect some tools. I'm going to list out the tools right now. First thing you're going to need is a 7mm socket and a ratchet or a driver to remove the splash guard on your car. Then you're going to need a T55 Torx bit as well as a breaker bar or just a basic ratchet to remove the tensioner or to remove the tension on your belt. Another thing you're going to need is an external Torx bit. Now, I don't remember exactly what size it was. I believe it's an E8 is the size you're going to need. Also, a little trick for you guys, external Torx heads will actually accept a regular socket since they're the same hex pattern as a regular socket. So I believe if it's an E8, it will accept an 8mm socket. So just so you know. And then also you're going to need an oil pan because you have to remove the oil cooler lines in order to do this job. Why you have to remove the oil cooler lines to do an AC belt is beyond me, but Mercedes Benz engineered it that way, so you got to follow their stuff. Another thing that you're going to need is a jack and some stands or ramps, or if you have access to a lift, that's great too. I just did this on a jack and some stands. I actually think I used a jack and like a spare wheel that was sitting around, just put the front wheels on wheels. But that's about all that you're going to need for this job. And I'm going to explain the procedure to you really quickly because I don't know how much video I actually got. So I'm just going to do this. So the first thing that you're going to need to do is you're going to need to take your impact driver or ratchet. It's a lot easier with an impact driver, just saying. You're going to need to remove all the 7mm bolts on your splash guard. You will easily be able to identify which 7mm bolts you need to remove just by looking at the splash guard. There will be, they're like these little silver bolts with huge washers on them. So it's going to be easy for you to figure this one out. I don't think I got any video of it, but you just get your impact driver and you just crack them all off. And then the splash guard, you drop it from the bottom first and pull it out the front. Or you drop the bottom first and pull it out from the front bumper. It's kind of difficult to do because the oil cooler it like holds it in, kind of. But you just got to do a little bit of prying. Don't be afraid to scare or to break anything. After we've got those 7mm bolts off, the next thing that we're going to need to do is we're going to need to remove the old belt, or if yours is shredded like mine was, you don't even need to remove it. You just need to start installing the next one. So I'm going to show you guys right now how we're going to do that, starting with showing you this diagram here. I'm going to take a picture of this and put it up on screen, but we're going to take our tensioner, which is pictured here. There will be a hole in it that accepts a T55 Torx. Right above the pulley on the aluminum like bracket, there will be this little hole that accepts the T55. We're going to loosen the belt, that's the existing belt that's on there, by using a breaker bar and this Torx bit. We're going to just pull the belt off all the pulleys and let it rest in the oil cooler lines. The next thing that you're going to need to do is actually remove these oil cooler lines to remove the belt, and you're going to need to put a drain pan underneath them when you take them off. And then after you remove the oil cooler lines and you get the belt off, you're going to need to slide the new belt over the oil cooler lines and reverse the process. Follow this diagram to route your belt, loosen the tensioner, put the belt around it, and then let the tensioner go back tight and reassemble the entire car. Okay, so right here we've got the belt. As you'll notice, I do have the belt around these two lines. And that is because I looked at a couple diagrams, I looked at a couple photos of these engines outside of the cars. And to replace this belt, you actually have to remove these oil cooler lines because the center of the belt goes over these oil cooler lines. So you got to pop these oil cooler lines off. It is a external Torx, also an 8mm socket
is the same size as that. So I just used an 8mm socket, popped these oil cooler lines off, removed those, fed the belt inside, and now what we are doing is we're currently trying to feed it over the AC. There's a pulley above the AC, and then there's the tensioner pulley, which I've already got a ratchet hooked to right there. So there's 2 pulleys up top. There's one idler pulley, one tensioner pulley, and then we have to loop it around the crank pulley, which is right here. And then we have to loop it around this idler pulley here, and finally around the AC, which is here. So it's going to be really hard to record that, so I'm just going to go ahead and do it. And I'm sure, you know, you can kind of see when you're down here that you have to go like over these AC lines and then get it around the AC. And I'm not even sure how I'm going to do the top ones yet. Probably going to be a lot of finagling, but we're going to get it done. So up here at the top, this pulley, I don't know if you can see that one right there. Not that one at the very top, but the one to the left and down a little bit. It's the tensioner pulley, so that takes a T55 Torx bit, I believe. Where do I put that? Oh. So that tensioner pulley takes a T55 Torx bit. The little Torx hole for it is just above, like on the top right of the pulley. You put it on, you put your ratchet on loose, and you turn it to the left in order to loosen the belt. And after you feed the belt through all of those, you have to kind of play your cards right around these AC lines here. I actually put it around the top, all the top pulleys and the crank pulley first, and then took it off the AC and this pulley here and fed it around those pulleys first. And then actually got it on these 2 pulleys last after the tensioner was loosened, after I was pushing on the tensioner. Got the belt on. I did also have to loosen this here as part of the oil cooler line system. And yeah, you got to take the oil cooler lines off. This one here, this one on this end. Got to feed the belt through it. You got to feed the belt up here. Got to take this off, feed the belt underneath this. And yeah. After you finish the belt, you just got to put your splash guard back on. It's really easy to tell where the bolts are because they're all silver. The splash guard is black. You'll easily be able to do that. Overall, I'd say that this is about a 3 out of 5 star mechanic job. Definitely have to be a little bit experienced to do it. I wouldn't recommend doing this if you haven't done anything else like it before. But it's not terrible. But it is way harder than a normal serpentine belt job. So just keep that in mind.
There we go. The belt is done. Hopefully this video wasn't too boring for you guys. I tried to piece it together as well as I could. I'm still not extremely happy with the result, but I'm hoping that you guys find this useful or entertaining. Thanks for watching this video. Keep your eyes open for more videos like this, and for the Lifted Beetle series, which is still continuing, although it is delayed because I've been very busy lately. So keep in the loop, and we'll see you guys on the next videos.